Hi, I'm David Bell. This is episode 3 in a series of 12 on being an effective leader. Each episode I'll give you one key point that can change your organisation or church or study group. This time it's how we feel about communicating. Whether or not we think we're good communicators, the truth is we live in a world which is drowning in a tidal wave of communication. So we need a simple method that helps us improve what we're currently doing. I'm going to outline 5 basic steps that will take us to the aha moment, that one key simple idea that we can always use. Communicating's in the Christian lifeblood. We've got good news to share and we want to be as effective as possible in communicating it. An interesting fact emerged from a survey of over 8,000 employees in a wide range of jobs and businesses. Almost all saw themselves as better communicators than others in their organisation. They rated themselves. But the reality was different. Others didn't rate them. Because we have to communicate, we tend to think we're good at it. And it can be a bit of a blow when we find out that we haven't come across to others as we might have hoped. It's frustrating when communication's poor, but the reverse is just as true. When there's excellent communication, we find that a workplace, a church, and even whole communities can be energized with a common purpose and vision. For church leaders to become better, more effective communicators, there are 5 key points to master: content, context, feedback. Here's the odd man out: convene and timetable. Let's look at these in detail. Content. This is first. Why? Because content is king. What is it that we want to communicate? What is the content of a particular message? We have to decide on the content as the first step in the communication process. And this is invariably the hardest thing to decide on. It needs hard work, very hard work. Because if you waffle around in a sermon, for example, or any other communication context, no one's going to take you seriously. So get serious, edit, revise, polish your content. Make it king. Second is context. Context is the how and where of communication delivery. Where is that message conveyed? Is it email, handwritten, verbal, posted, online, in a meeting, at a worship service? If the message is conveyed in person, what about the tone of voice, gestures, eye contact, and degrees of anxiety and nervousness or confidence in the delivery? All of these may affect the content of the communication. An open, friendly manner may well go a long way to overcoming resistance to a difficult message. Remember that in face-to-face meetings, first impressions count, and almost all that we convey has little to do with the words we want to speak. So make the context count. Third is feedback. This is well understood in many workplaces, but is the most neglected aspect of communication in the church. It may be because we're a voluntary organisation, we fear that feedback will be hurtful to preachers or leaders or even ordinary members. This is likely, of course, if the feedback is unduly harsh or negative. But constructive feedback can enhance church life for everyone. Effective leaders need to know how to get and to give constructive feedback. When leaders hide behind status or structure to deliver their message, people will soon lose interest. Fourth in this list is not what you might expect. That's the odd man out. Of all communication techniques, the power to convene is the most necessary to master today. In fact, as the authority of the church continues to decline, the power to convene is more important than ever. Congregations are pulled together, called to witness to common beliefs, resulting in compassionate actions when you convene them so to do. But if you don't convene them so to do, forget it. It won't happen. And alas, that is the church scene today. Leaders too scared to convene and say we're going to do things differently. A congregation knows that it convenes by the fire of God's Spirit. Therefore, when a leader convenes a church meeting, be it for worship or fundraising for church finances or pressing for community action, he or she has used a form of communication that the secular world cannot do, doesn't know how to do, and tries its best to ignore. Parish councils mostly are passive and non-productive, but when a leader or group of leaders convenes to explore this renewing vision, then extraordinary things can happen. It sets forth a new agenda. Lastly, but by no means least, there is the power to timetable. The power to convene runs hand in glove with the ability of the church leaders to timetable. Effective communication requires a sense of good timing. Hence, we need to take our cue from changing patterns in the community. When are the preferred times for community involvement? And is it face-to-face or is it online? How do leaders find out? In a nutshell, know your audience. Ask questions, conduct surveys, and in an online context, find the appropriate analytics. Timetabling your events requires audience insights, be it from a large congregation or a small study group. And that leads to the key idea about communicating in today's tsunami of information. Good communication with and for your audience is ultimately your behaviour. Nothing more, nothing less. Behave well, communicate well. If you're sincere, you will convey sincerity. If you're interested in your audience, you will convey interest. If you're knowledgeable about your content, you will convey authority. If you are sensitive to your context, you will convey sensitivity. If you care deeply enough about your audience to discover how they feel and think and how they want to participate, you will convey depth. The choice is ours as Christian communicators. Our next unit is on creativity and how you can increase your creative input into the local ministry context and why it's important for you to do so. See you then, and thanks for watching.